lot of people talk about networking a lot. It's like almost like a buzzword in like the online, I don't want to say like business guru type stuff, right? There's a lot of good advice. There's a lot of bad advice. There's just a lot of advice on it, right? What are some don'ts when it comes to networking that you could advise people? Don't do this, and instead maybe do this.
Kind of sit down with yourself and find out what you have to offer, like in terms of value and in terms of actually that's a good question, actually.
Because one for me, so like I do a lot of music stuff, right? And a lot of and with podcasting too, you're reaching out to people to be on your shows and whatnot. A big thing for me is people will reach out and they'll hit you with the, yo, bro, I need to get a feature on this, or you should let me get on this song, or whatever. I need you to do this thing for me. And I'll go be like, okay, click the profile. They're not following me. They ain't like any of my pictures. I don't even know if they know the fucking song of mine that they're asking to get a feature on. They just see that it's got whatever many streams, and it's like whatever. And it's like the biggest thing for me is like, I think step one is what you said, where it's figure out what value do you actually have. If it's something like, in your case, if you're a photographer, you have this tangible skill where it's like, I can do this thing. Yeah. Right. So it's like, I know if I sit down with an artist or sit down with whatever, we're getting it talking, and maybe they have an opportunity that I want, I know what I could give them, and it might be what they need, which is good ass pictures or whatever it is. Right. And so that's step one. And I think step two is actually, for me at least, and I guess you don't have to do this, but for me is actually being a fan, or at least enjoying the person that you're trying to connect with thing, whatever it is. If they're an owner of a coffee shop, and you're trying to maybe do like a little a cappella group there or something, this weird example I'm creating right now.
It's all good.
You probably should go in for coffee every once in a while, right? You should probably fucking introduce yourself to the owner and be like, hey, I really love the coffee you guys have here. I really love the atmosphere, love the vibe. Not just the first time that they ever hear from you is like, yo, can I do a live show here at your thing? Like, can I have? Instead of like just being a part of whoever's it is community. Yep. So it's like the musicians that I want to work with, I'm following all of them already and have been for months before I ever reach out. And it's like leaving comments, leaving likes, whatever. And it's like, then you can reach out. You should show people that you actually enjoy what they're doing. And I think that's a bare minimum. Obviously, that could be manipulated as well, where someone could just pretend to follow you and pretend whatever. But I think in general, if someone's going to take the time to do all that, I think, that says more about them. So most of the time, if someone is taking the time to follow you for a few months and, leave some comments and be like, man, I really am engaging with this content, whatever. If they're going to fuck me over in the end, that's some dedication. And I guess I earned that one, right? But
if they went that far.
If they went that far, then good for them. If they really wanted to fuck me over that bad. But most of the time, those are the people that are legit, and it's the other people that, hit you with the, oh, can I have this thing? Can you do this thing for me? And haven't done anything in return. Not saying you can't do stuff for people without them having done something for you, but I can promise you that they are less likely to help you if you're not even a fan of them.
Yeah, especially like people that get reached out a lot. Like I'm sure people are always like reaching out to you, right? The more people that reach out, the bigger your filter has to be. Yeah. So because there's a lot of time wasters that are just looking for free stuff, and you're like, I'm busy, man. I got stuff going on. Like, why should I help you? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, and it's not even a rude thing. It's just why. It really is just like why. Yeah. Why? Like, what is the reason? It could be any reason, but if you don't even have a reason, where it's like sometimes people hit me up and they'll be like, hey, I want to be on the podcast. I'll be like, oh, awesome, man. I'm always looking for guests. And then I'll be like, what do you want to get into? What do you want to talk about? Whatever, right? If I don't go to them first, like if I go to them, like in our case, like I went over to you, I had seen you briefly before the mansion, and I'd seen all the stuff you were doing on social media, so I'm like, I have an idea of what I want to talk to you about this guy, right? So I reach out that way. People reach out to me, and if I can't immediately tell what you're doing, then I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to talk about? Right. And then it turns into, well, whatever, man. I'm down to talk about anything. It's like, okay, well, then we're going to talk about nothing because you're not going to be on the show. Right. Yeah. Like, respectfully. Yeah, man. That's how it has to be. And it sucks because I'm sure, maybe they're funny. Maybe they have something they're really passionate about. But if you can't honestly tell me what it is we're going to talk about, and you're going to come on the podcast, and I'm going to have to, carry a conversation with you when you're nervous and whatever, and I'm doing a favor for you, that doesn't help me as much as you maybe thought it did in your head.
And I like talking with just about anybody.
Yeah.
We've talked with, I mean, I produce a guy who does an outdoorsman podcast. I'm not the craziest outdoorsman myself,
Yeah.
but I've enjoyed fishing and stuff in the past, and I've sat down and had 2 long hour and plus conversations with him on my podcast.
Nice.
Right. And it's like, we talk with people like that. We talk with athletes, all these people. So I'll talk with anybody, but you have to have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it just, to the people doing that, I guess a tip for you is just have a direction. Just be like, yeah, man, if someone asks you, well, what can you offer me? Like, no, like, think about it for a day or so and just write it down or something. Like,
yeah. Well, I just think that honestly, it kind of circles back to like what you said. It's like, if I don't know what I can offer, why am I reaching out to be on someone's podcast?
Yeah. Just because
the value, like everything is subjective, right? Where if you're like, I'm really passionate about, I don't know, crochet.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if that's what you're really passionate about, you're really knowledgeable. We talk about fucking anything and everything on this podcast. But if you want to come on and have an educated conversation about that and educate me and my audience, whatever, I will gladly have that.
Yeah.
Right. It could be the weirdest thing. Someone else might be like, fuck that, I don't want to have that on. But for me, is the fact that you know yourself, you know what you want to talk about. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's value to you, because you're like, oh, cool, they're gonna come on the podcast and talk about that.
Exactly.
And you don't have to.
I don't have to be like,
you don't even have to like think about, oh, cool, they kind of even like did some work for you. They're like, they gave you like, oh, we're gonna talk about this, and you're like, okay, let me craft my questions around that.
Exactly.
They almost like saved you time and.
Oh, they do, definitely. Time, fucking energy.
So they gave you time. There you go.
That's the biggest thing.
Value right there.
And I think that for everybody, whatever profession it is that you're in, or whatever you want, if there's something that you want, see what you could give to get that. Maybe would be a good way of looking at it, I think. Thanks for watching that last video, guys. Click right over here to see the episode in its entirety, or click over here to subscribe and check out all the other cool shit we have on the channel. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Do it.